This is a shopping center designed by the designer of Louvre Pyramid, Ep.8. So we have big name architects around this area. It's just that, forgive me because I forgot the name of the architect of this building. And of course we have, if not the oldest, probably the second oldest or the second largest amusement park in the world. It's very historical. It's called Tivoli Gardens, and I'm sure you've heard of this place. It's an iconic landmark amusement park in Copenhagen. So I think it would be nice to see Tivoli Gardens entrance from afar. Ep.8 shopping center. It's another shopping center. And look at this building. I'm loving the public space they provided in the middle of the circular building footprint. The facade is made of steel, an array of vertical fins, and the steps are just plain concrete with rubber lining. And then it's well landscaped in the middle. Not a lot of people around, which makes it a little relaxing, and at the same time hopefully security is not strict. So if you are an employee in one of these companies that are housed in here, this will be a nice place to smoke, because apparently Danish like to smoke. So wow, so this is a really nice addition to the public space that Copenhagen has already, because it is you're surrounded by modern architecture, and then you have this modern public piazza on an elevated level. I'm just happy that the security is not so strict, because in the Philippines, if I'm holding a camera and then they see that I am taking a footage of the place, they would definitely ask me to leave. So let's look at the view from here, because I've been to that building across. I tried their McDonald's. So you have the view of the street, and then view of portion of Tivoli Garden Gate. Wow, beautiful architecture, because you can appreciate the detailing and design forms from all angles. So I always tell my student that you don't see architecture in a two-dimensional manner. You need to see it in a three-dimensional form. And definitely this is one of those buildings that were carved out of a model three-dimensionally. Look at that. I'm sure that guy is an architect or an architecture student. Okay. So let's continue the walk along the main street, I would say, of Copenhagen. This only proves to show that this street is very important. Not only you have historical buildings, you have modern architecture that are really interesting and progressive. So if you notice, we are in front of the Tivoli Gardens, right at the gate, with that very ornate facade that is historical, and right across it is the Axel Towers, and again another open space in front of it. And noticeably, most of the buildings around the area are low-rise or medium-rise, and that's why it was very important for the architects, Lundgaard and Tranberg, if I'm not mistaken, to carefully design the massing of this building with respect to the surrounding context, and at the same time the solar orientation. So what's distinctive about this building is the material. They chose tombak, if I'm not mistaken. It's some kind of a brass alloy with 20% zinc. Again, another round, and you can see the Tivoli Gardens here. So the open spaces and the openings connect well with the city. Maybe for another ordinary person, this is really nothing, but for a designer like us or like me, these are things that are very important and what makes the design more meaningful and intelligent, if I may say. And if people would look at buildings the same way as us, I think they will have better appreciation of really intelligent design architecture. So this is the Circus Theater. So I was right, it's one of Copenhagen's landmark. So let's just go around the building one last time to see the back side of it. And I would say there's no backside for this building. It really has a nice facade. So the architects originally was also looking at pure zinc or pure copper, but they found it too bright for this building. So they want it a little subdued so that it doesn't really shout out or stick out too much from the surrounding buildings. So even the car entrance, the car park entrance, was treated nicely. In some of the projects, you would notice that this is treated like a back of the house, but it's not the case with this building. And like I said, that's one of my frustrations, like treating the back of the house really just an eyesore. So we're going again to that side of the Axel Tower we're in. It's just a side street. It becomes an interesting alleyway. In fact, if these are not offices, this could probably be a nice coffee shop with a nice seating area. So let's go back up again. So you can see how it is reacting to weather, and they have a nice detail for the water runoff. It's becoming a bit green and reminds me of the towers, the green towers of Copenhagen. Really beautiful. But it looks stunning, and it communicates well with the material of the building across, which I think is also an Axel building. So if you look at the floor plan, which they have imprinted on the wall, we are here, and this is the stairs going to the elevated park, and these are the towers. And you notice that the stairs are facing this piazza over here, so it creates more opportunity for access rather than the other side, because I remember that there's a wall which we're going there later. So it becomes a very porous building around. So you also notice, because of the different heights of the massing, it doesn't overwhelm the surrounding buildings. So you have nice landscaping again with the framing of the plant box using the same material. It's really going to age really well over time. And I want to see the other side, if how this relates to the building beside it. So if you notice, it's just facing the back of the house of the other building, but it doesn't matter. The architecture really treats the site with considerations. Doesn't treat the project as, you know, one side is going to be ugly and the other side is going to be pretty. And if we can create buildings that are like that, I think the environment will be more enticing. So this is the back side of it, and yet it doesn't treat the other side, the back side, as a something that you hide. So even with the handrail, I'm not sure what material this is specifically, but it blends well with the tombak. Then they have a cobblestone, and then they have concrete pillars to support the structure. So you notice that this cube, this circular or cylindrical volume is slightly lower than the other. So there's a play of height. And that is, I think, the lowest of all the cylinders. And you can see that there are some sitting areas there. And on the 9th to the 10th floor, I think to make this more open to the public and more urbanistic, they set up a bar so that the public can enjoy the view atop this building. So this is really an expected public space for the locals, even for tourists like me, because outside is a very touristic area, really crowded, and then all of a sudden you are treated with a slightly quiet open piazza. I love how transparent this is. Try to imagine if you'll have an office, and then you have the view of the park, and then you have a view of a historical building right next to it. So it's a view across. If I'm not mistaken, it's another important Copenhagen landmark, Circus something. So I guess this is becoming one of my favorite mixed-use towers to date.